This one right here, universally loved in our YouTube fragrance community. I don't think I ran into a negative fragrance review on this one yet in our community. If you have seen one, comment below because I got to give kudos to that fragrance reviewer. But either way, this one is Azzaro Wanted by Night. This is not a sample I was seeking out. It just came with a bottle purchase, and whatever comes my way, I will review it, good or bad. So today is my day to let you guys know what I think about Wanted by Night. I think the bottle is tacky. Shoot me. Call me a niche snob. I own more designers than you, your mother, and your grandmother. YouTube fragrance family, welcome to Taking a Test Drive. This is where I take a test drive with a particular scent prior to purchasing or forgetting about it. I wear them from 1 to 2 wearings, give or take, and let you know my thoughts, good or bad. Today, as the title suggests, you already know what I'm taking a test drive of. This is Wanted by Night by Azzaro. Now, Azzaro, not a fan of the brand. Chrome, ouch. That's one of their top sellers. Azzaro Put I like, and you guys are going to be you're going to get a treat on my channel next month because I got a whole bunch of flankers of Azzaro Put so keep it tuned in. But today the spotlight is on this one by Night, and I'm going to let you know my thoughts on it. So let's take a look under the hood for some stats on this one. Release date was 2018, last year. Fragrance house, of course, is Azzaro. Concentrations Eau de Parfum. The nose is behind this one, Michel Girard and Quentin Biche. Actually, pretty good resumes on both ends. Major notes to this nose right here were an orange note, a citrus note, I believe it was a mandarin. Cinnamon is a big note in this particular fragrance, and something called red cedar, which is also juniper. So how was my day with Wanted by Night? You want to know what my day was with this thing right here? The opening of Wanted by Night throws off a very sweet synthetic orange, a mandarin note up my nose with the cheap juniper and some spice, the cinnamon. It has some sweet fruity notes that go throughout the fragrance, and these sweet fruity notes, they got some push to them. They don't really portray any specific fruit. Like, I can't say it's strawberry, raspberry, blueberry. It's just the synthetic fruitiness to the fragrance, which is fairly popular these days in a lot of these designer fragrances. That this is reminding me of a genre. You know that genre, that the sweet, fresh fragrances, you know, the Invictuses of the world and all that. Victus Aqua, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Pie. They were going sweet and fresh. Now those fragrances are getting darkened up with, of course, a really sweet, fruity note, and then a backbone. They call it incense and patchouli. That ain't no incense and that ain't no patchouli, my friends. It just is just a darkness to the fragrance. So this one goes that route. The opening leads me to think this is a typical Azzaro scent. It really doesn't stand out. It's mumbled, it's jumbled. The notes really don't work together. It wants to be sexy, but really it wants to jump into the sweet foray, but really fails, right? There's a lot of fragrances out there in this genre, and I mean, it is crowded. Like, you got your 1 million Privés, Armani Code Profumo, and I can go on, and there's a lot of fragrances that are much better than this. If you like that kind of genre, I'm not a huge fan, but when they do it well, I appreciate it. This one, if I'm going the same price as those, ouch. I really don't think this one stands out to me. The juniper and the orange combo never worked up top, and within a few minutes it starts mellowing down, which is nice because I don't want it to be too much to my nose because I didn't like it up top. So it started mellowing down. They list cumin as a note, and I perused the internet a little bit, and it said cumin, oh, watch out. If you're not a fan of cumin, man, get out of here. There's hardly any cumin in this. Don't worry, folks, there's nothing to do with this scent. It's not going to bother you. I didn't get much of it. Again, it's off a sample, so take it with a grain of salt. It's not like I've worn this as a signature scent for several months and did a full-fledged review on your ass. No, this is what test drive is all about. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't get any cumin, and I know my cumin fragrances. This is not even close. Now, once we get into the heart of this fragrance, it gives me some warmth, some generic warmth. The cinnamon is very soft in this fragrance, but it is your major player in this fragrance too, with great notes like tobacco, incense, leather. We got benzoin, we got cypress up in the note breakdown. I was like, wow, none of those are big players, none. The scent just gives you a fog of darkness. You don't even know what the darkness really is. And I've smelled thousands of fragrances. Like, you can't just say, Mark, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're smelling. Man, I'm smelling a fog of darkness. That's all I'm getting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that YEDP that was a little darker in the background of YSL. It was just utilizing a sweet, fruity top note that will blend and morph all the way through the fragrance and utilizing a bland dark note melange. I felt a little bit of a woody aspect here that made it a little more masculine. There's a fruity tone that goes throughout this fragrance. It reminds me of the empty incense and patchouli that you get that's not as strong, but that is in EDG Profumo. You know how people say, oh, I get tons of incense in that fragrance. And no, I get like, there's tobacco in here. Where's the tobacco nuances? Where's the incense? Where's the smoke of the incense? It's not even cold incense. The leather, where's the big bold leather? Where's the suede-like leather? There's nothing in there. The benzoin, the sweetness, you know, those notes. I want those nuances to come through in a fragrance. Now, maybe I'm asking too much of a designer fragrance, but there's a lot of designer fragrances that do that kind of stuff. And that's where I am going to nail this thing to the grave, because it's not doing it for me. It's just really empty as a fragrance. There's no personality in this fragrance. There's none. The dry down is boring. It doesn't give you any nuances. It's just dark. So really there's just some density to it. That's it. I don't like it. You may not like what I'm saying right now. And hey, that's my opinion, right? I don't care what other reviewers say. They can all say 10 out of 10. They can say this is the sexiest bottle they've ever seen. And I'm not just saying just to say it. You know, I like the 1 million bottle. Some people think it's tacky. Whatever. I think this is tacky. This is an ugly bottle, and the juice inside is exactly what I expected from Azzaro. Azzaro's not a top-notch brand. This is getting fairly low. Azzaro Chrome now. So let's get into the revolver. Quick take on a few important things. Let's get into it. Seasons. I feel like this one's more of a fall type scent. Obviously pinpoints on cinnamon, and the cinnamon's not great in this fragrance, but it has a good cinnamon note. And cinnamon works well in the fall and has some darkness to it. It's got some fruity tones, so I would have to say fall is the best time for this. I can see it a rainy spring day too, and a little bit into the winter, depending how cold your winters are. Day or night, mostly a night scent. It even says it in the name, so I'm gonna go with it. Versatility, not too bad. These sweet scents, you know, a little too playful for the office. Daily wear, a little too dark for that. So it's more of a nighttime, you know, going out, shooting pool, going to the movies, going on a date, depending on your age, that kind of stuff. Performance, this one, it was okay, 5 to 7 hours. I'm expecting more for a darker scent. Projection was a little less than high, so kind of, this is an EDP, right? So kind of didn't do very well. So now on to my final thoughts on my days with, of course, Azzaro Wanted By Night. Azzaro By Night is piggybacking on the fresh and sweet genre that the game is now making darker versions of these, but it felt very incomplete. The dry down, even though has great notes in the name only, The tobacco never brings any great tobacco nuances. The leather never brought any of that either. The incense, same thing. There's no smoke. There's nothing there. On and on. I can go all day with this one. The cinnamon is your main player in this fragrance. Cinnamon lovers, they may like this. I'm a huge fan of cinnamon, but I can name 50. I can make a top 50 cinnamon fragrances, and this would not make the list. Now that's niche and designer combined, but I can at least find 20 designers better than this for the cinnamon game. It's got a sweet fruity note, which is like a fake fruity note. It doesn't smell like anything. And there's of course that orange, that mandarin up top, which is okay. It's very, it's very juvenile. Honestly, other scents like Armani Code Profumo and 1 Million Privé do this better, just to name a few. Spice Bomb, if you want a spicy kick. If you want some cinnamon, there's one for you right there. Spice Bomb is always good. The one from Dolce & Gabbana, it reminds me of that a little bit, but the one is much better, cleaner, better quality. And for your buck, that's where I come in. I'm gonna let you know what I think personally in the designer realm. You got the Spice Bomb, you got the one from Dolce & Gabbana. You got a lot of fragrances that could give you this kind of fragrance, and much better as far as quality goes. If I had to give this one a score out of 10, yeah, I'm gonna score it. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Now the reason why is I can see teenagers going through this, or someone newer in the fragrance game that would like this type of fragrance, or you like this type of genre fragrance. I could see you guys liking this type of fragrance, but there's so many out there. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10, and that's being generous. I think it's probably better than the original Wanted. I didn't want to try that, but still, I don't think it's a fragrance that should be seeked out. I don't think it's an 8, 9, or 10 out of 10 type of designer release. I really, really don't. So I'd love to hear your take in the comments below. If you have smelt this fragrance, good or bad and the ugly, you hit me up. And if you haven't smelt this fragrance, let us know in the comments below. What is your favorite release from the house of Azzaro? There's slim pickings, but there might be one that you like out there. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button. Even if you don't have the same taste as me, hey, I'm working a little bit here to give you some free content. Please hit that like, subscribe if you haven't. That bell is also waiting to be rung. Are you part of my notification gang yet? If you haven't checked me out, I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can search me, Robes08, you'll find me. I also have a Facebook group called Fragrance Guru Nation, where we have 15,200 members now. And we discuss fragrances, new releases, people sell, swap, all that stuff. So join us today. All the links are down below too. Now I'll leave you with a few takes of all that social media. I did ask everybody on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, what they thought about this fragrance. And I will share that with you at the back end of this review. Good or bad, I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to put a whole bunch of shitty comments in the back. Yeah, I'm going to give some good and the bad because I want you guys to be informed. As always, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube.